my topic is ending the backlog of untested rape kits. Much of what we, the general public, know about the prosecution of sex crimes comes from the perfect world of television. On shows like Law & Order Special Victims Unit, we see a victim report their assault, go to the hospital for a forensic evidence collection, more commonly known as a rape kit, which is immediately tested for DNA evidence, which is run through the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS, in hopes of finding the assailant. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. According to endthebacklog.org, there is an estimated 200,000 rape kits that are backlogged in the United States, sitting in crime labs across the country, collecting dust. Many of them have been there for decades. In general, a rape kit is a highly invasive procedure, which lasts for hours. Not only is a victim being poked and prodded by somebody he or she does not know, but they have just been violated in possibly the worst way imaginable. Something that sexual assault nurse examiners are taught during training is that a rape victim is a living, breathing crime scene. A crime scene that has feelings and emotions, and a crime scene that can feel pain. After hours of this, one would expect that the rape kit would immediately be sent to the crime lab where it is tested for DNA. So why is there such a big backlog? Many of the rape kits that are sitting in crime labs across the country are those of men and women who were assaulted before DNA profiling and testing. And many of them have expired the statute of limitations of rape in their states. One particularly heartbreaking story is that of survivor Helena from California. It was 1996, just days after Helena turned 17, and her parents had bought her a new Volkswagen Rabbit for her birthday. Days later, she was at a car wash, where she was abducted at knife point and raped, repeatedly. Her assailant threatened that if she reported her attack and he heard it on his police scanner, or saw his name in the paper, that he would come and kill her family. He took her license and vowed to return and make her his girlfriend. Helena was brave and reported her rape. She endured the 4 to 6 hour long exam and rape kit, and she handed over her new car as evidence. Her car was given back to her after evidence was collected, with an outline of her body on the hood, where he forced her face down and raped her. After the return of her car, she didn't hear back from the Los Angeles Police Department for 13 years. They never returned her calls, and they never called her with a break in her case. Helena lived in fear for those 13 years, that her assailant would return as he promised. Helena believed that her rape kit had been lost or destroyed, and that she would never know justice. And then she learned that she was not alone, that there were thousands of women like her. And so she contacted an advocate, who then contacted the Los Angeles Police Department. And within a week, a sergeant had called her with good news. Her rapist, Charles Courtney, was serving 25 years in Ohio for a rape similar to her own, and one that could have been prevented had Helena's kit been tested 13 years earlier. Currently, Helena is working on getting Charles Courtney extradited to California, because although the statute of limitations has run out on her rape case, kidnapping does not carry a statute of limitations. Charles Courtney faces 15 years to life in prison for Helena's kidnapping. Natasha Alexenko was brutally raped, sodomized, and robbed at gunpoint in 1993. Her rape kit sat on a shelf collecting dust for 10 years before it was tested for DNA evidence, so her assailant could be brought to justice, just 2 weeks before the statute of limitations ran. She then started Natasha's Justice Project, a foundation to raise awareness and help end the backlog of untested rape kits. According to Natasha's Justice Project, a rape kit can cost anywhere from $800 to $1,200 to test. Many argue that most states just don't have the money to process all of them. However, this is no excuse. New York eradicated their backlog, which was roughly 16,000 rape kits in 2003. And now every rape kit that comes into a crime lab is tested immediately. Still, there are others, like Wendy Murphy, a Women's E! News correspondent, who argue that DNA doesn't matter in a rape case, that consent is what matters. And to an extent, this is true, because without consent, or lack thereof, there is no rape. However, in order to prosecute the offenders, there has to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the assailant in fact committed the crime. DNA is the only concrete evidence that a prosecution has to prove that the person who was arrested for the crime is guilty. Because eyewitness accounts are unreliable, especially those from victims themselves. Someone who's being attacked doesn't have the mental capacity at that moment to be able to make a 100% solid identification. Therefore, the DNA found in the rape kit can corroborate the victim's accounts, and it also helps prevent prosecution and punishment of those who are falsely accused. I stand in front of you now to ask you to help resolve this situation. I ask you to educate yourselves about the backlog and to use your voice for those who cannot or feel as though they cannot. Become an advocate. Get angry and contact your local legislators. Email them, call them, write them, and see them in person, and don't stop until you receive a response. Donate to organizations like the Natasha's Justice Project and Joyful Heart Foundation, who started End the Backlog. Every dollar counts and goes to help backlogged rape kits across the country get tested. Join with me